This week in sports, the MLB continues to stay in the news. Mets second baseman Robinson Cano made headlines this week after it came out that Cano would be suspended for the entire 2021 season due to a positive performance-enhancing drug test. This is Cano's second time getting caught using PEDs. Wednesday night saw the NBA draft come and go. Georgia native Anthony Edwards was drafted number 1 overall by the Minnesota Timberwolves. Week 11 in the NFL commenced on Thursday night with the Arizona Cardinals traveling to the Seattle Seahawks. Coming off a stunning victory over the Buffalo Bills just 4 days before the matchup, Kyler Murray's squad tried to keep the momentum going. However, they came up short. In a bounce-back game, Russell Wilson rushed for 42 yards, threw for 197 yards and 2 touchdowns, gunning down the Cardinals 28-21. Elsewhere in the NFL, the Cincinnati Bengals took a devastating but all too predictable blow when their quarterback and number 1 overall pick Joe Burrow blew out his ACL, MCL, and suffered additional structural damage in his left knee. Big yikes. Sunday Night Football saw Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs continue to remind everyone that they are the team to beat in the AFC. The New England Patriots lost to the Houston Texans, dropping them to 4-6 on the season and killing what little hope they had at making it into the expanded 2021 playoffs. And on Monday Night Football, Tom Brady looked every second of 43 years old. Brady completed just 26 of his 48 passes for 216 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions in a loss to the Rams in Tampa Bay. And this is the Under 500 podcast. Welcome back into the Under 500 podcast. My name is Eric. I am alongside my 2 co-hosts. Aaron, how are you?
I'm doing well, Eric. I hope everyone listening is having a great day today.
You're so positive. That's why we love you. Tyler, how are you?
Doing really, really well.
Awesome. You guys just want to jump right into this?
Let's
go,
man. I
We got a
mean,
lot of news.
there's a lot of stuff that happened this week in sports.
Yo, this week
happy
in football.
Thanksgiving, everyone, as well. Just to preface this, enjoy your family today.
I hope you guys have a good day today. Eat a bunch of food. If you've already eaten your food, eat more of your food.
Seriously, just keep eating. There's nothing better than Thanksgiving because no one's going to judge you for continuing to eat. So, anyways, into this week in football, where do we even want to start? Should we start with Lamar Jackson or the Browns, or should we start with the Steelers being undefeated?
Those 10-0 Steelers, baby.
Steelers 10-0, and I'm not going to lie, I don't completely understand how they're 10-0 right now.
Okay, why is that?
I mean, going into this year, Ben's coming off a serious injury last year to his elbow that took him out for pretty much the entire season. So you have a whole season where he didn't play. Not only that, I mean, if you look across the board, they have Claypool, who's turned into a stud. But I mean, he was a rookie going in. You don't know what you're going to get from him. And I don't know, coming off last year's performance and seeing just what they were like, I was not anticipating them to be 10-0, maybe have a winning record at this point. But
can we blame their terrible team last year on Mason Rudolph, please?
You're right.
Please, can we blame it on Mason Rudolph? Because he is so bad. Is he even employed?
I don't know. I have to look.
You know what?
I don't think he's signed.
Question. I have no idea if he's on the team right now.
Who was the backup before him?
Before Mason? Oh man, I almost said Charlie Batch, but Charlie Batch is
Gardner Minshew? Was that who was before him? Why do I have that in my head?
He was drafted.
No, he was drafted by the Jags.
Oh, okay.
So he's only been on the Jags in his career. I forget who their backup. I almost said Tommy Maddox, but no, that's another throwback name. I'm like in the 2000s, like Cordell Stewart.
Not sure, but I mean, last year they were bad, but James Conner didn't have too bad of a year last year. I mean, he wasn't terrible.
Yeah, I thought he was better the year before, but
2 years ago.
2 years ago he was amazing. And he didn't have the worst season of all time last year.
I mean, it wasn't what it was the year before, but it was decent. But I mean, this year, he's He's all right. Like he's not putting up crazy numbers. He's just doing.
Well, I just think they're not a run.
talented.
They're not a run game or run game focused team at the moment.
No,
I
but they have a run game. Like
They do.
They have a running back they can turn to, or
Right.
it's serviceable.
Right.
So I think as New England fans, it's hard for me to say this, but I don't know if it's really disputable at this point that overall, over like the past 40, 50 years, I think the Steelers are probably the best. Like just how they structure things, how they do things, just organizationally. I'm not talking about their winning or how many rings they have. I know, like I'm not selling out my Patriots love, but like as a structural organization year in and year out, Steelers are one of those names that are normally there. Like it's usually shocking to see them not in the playoffs. So I guess for that reason it doesn't really surprise me that they're 10-0, but I guess I've just kind of been asleep on them. Like I know that they're 10-0, but I'm like, well,
But every week you expect them to kind of lose.
I expect Big Ben to go from throwing 5 touchdowns to throwing 5 picks and getting injured. That's what I expect. Like I just expect
And it hasn't
that flipped
happened.
us that
It
you know
hasn't
switched
happened.
us.
I mean, he's been close to injury, but I mean, that game, who were they
He
playing?
took a shot. Yeah,
at the
he
knee.
got
I forget who
leveled.
they were playing. He took a shot and then his knee he had to walk out into the locker
Yeah,
room before the half.
he had to sit a couple plays after that hit. I thought he was done, to be
I
honest.
did too. The way he was walking off the field, I was like, "Oh, geez, that doesn't look good."
I think he's trying to
a
do
stud.
what
He comes
every
back out.
Yeah, I think he's trying to do what every quarterback that's won has tried to do, which is go get that last ring. Like go
Oh,
get it.
absolutely. Well, I mean, think about it. Think about it from Ben's perspective right now. He's won 2 rings, which automatically, in my opinion, Big Ben is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't think he can.
Yeah.
So he's got that locked. He's getting up there in age. He's in his late 30s. He knows like his career is coming down to an end.
He definitely
now,
doesn't have
he's
the
like-
body style to keep going into his 40s.
Right.
Yeah, he really doesn't have the build to
He's
just
been
go.
destroyed throughout his career. He knows he's not going to go as long as Brady. He's aware of that. So he's like, I need to win now. And I mean, Eric, you mentioned this in the group chat we're all in. He seems to be laser focused.
Mhm.
Yeah,
this
he
year.
seems focused.
I mean, he's on a mission
Yeah.
with how he's playing. He's decisive. He's accurate. He's leading his team. It's like kind of like early Big Ben when he'd lead those game-winning drives. Like you're seeing that same Ben right now.
Right.
He's got his mojo back this year, man. That's the biggest reason they're winning.
You want to know the funniest part about me sending that? Not 2 minutes later, he threw a pick in the end zone, and I burst out laughing. I went, "That's the Ben I know."
Yeah.
He's back. But I think he knows he's a Hall of Famer, but he wants that 3rd ring. He knows he has to get it. It's like now or never,
Sure.
So
essentially. So
I think 3 rings really puts you like that's like next level. Like 1 ring, a
Agreed.
Hall of Famer will be 1 ring for sure.
Trent
Like
Dilfer has a freaking ring.
yeah, that's what I mean.
Like, you
Joe
know what I mean?
Flacco has a ring.
Right. I mean, and that's like, but they're scrubs, so I don't really care about that. But 3 rings, yeah, that puts you on like, okay, you're in the greats conversation.
I completely agree. Especially when
absolutely.
we consider who he faced. He got 3 rings, and the entire time he was in the league, he was up against Tom Brady, and for most of that, he was up against Peyton Manning as well. Like that's
Yep.
no small
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, and really, I mean, no, I was gonna say I thought I was gonna say they maybe had another shot for 3, but they didn't really because the Patriots are too good that year.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think Ben. I know he gets a lot of crap from us New England people because it's Brady's the best and no one else even compares.
He really does suck in
Are
New
we,
England, though. He goes to New England, and it's like,
But like Ben's a Hall of Fame quarterback.
We don't think that the Steelers should have been in the Super Bowl that year in the playoffs. I'm pretty sure it was the AFC Championship game when their tight end caught that pass and it slipped out of one of his hands, but he still retained possession and they called it incomplete.
And I still say, yeah,
that was the game. I'm pretty sure that was a game-winning pass. I don't know.
It was.
I think they should have
I'm gonna be honest,
probably
that was
gone
a
to the
catch.
Super Bowl.
That was a catch.
If you go by the rules that they are
Yeah.
as they stand now, that's a catch.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
They changed it after that year.
do we want to talk about the Ravens Titans thing that went down? The lining up on the 50-yard line, pettiness, fight.
What was up with that? Mike Vrabel and what's his face? Who's the head coach? Oh, why do I always forget?
Is it
names?
Jim? I think it's Jim. It's
Jim
Jim,
Harbaugh.
right? Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jim Harbaugh, and they were yapping. They were barking at each other.
I love that about football. You don't
Well, I
even get
mean,
the kickoff yet, and
Why
they're
would you
already
park
at
at
each
Mike
other's
Vrabel
throats.
though? That guy could destroy you with his hand.
he's huge.
He's such a big
He's a
dude.
freaking tank.
He has a
But you
really
know,
menacing look too. Like,
I would
you
not
know,
mess with Mike Vrabel.
nah.
well, I mean, with him as a coach, I mean, you look at that. Like the players are going to have that personality, and that's why there was that hostility
True.
between the two
But
teams. I mean, Vrabel's a very like
Rah
in your
rah,
face,
yeah.
rah rah, like don't let him smack you in the mouth.
what
Hit it back.
sparked all of that? I missed the whole thing.
I
'Cause
think it's
I
because they
was still
lined
at
up
church.
on the Ravens like 50-yard line, like the their logo on the
That
50-yard
Maryland
line, and it
logo,
had
yeah.
like a team meeting about how they're gonna stomp their throat down and blah, that very Mike Vrabel rah rah. And I don't think the Ravens thought too kindly of that. That's like J.J. Watt spitting on the 50-yard line. Like it's
Or
one of those
what's
like
his face putting the who was it? Was it Randy Moss? No, it was some wide receiver putting the football on the 50-yard line on the logo of the Cowboys.
Oh, that was Terrell Owens.
Terrell, it was
Randy Moss
T.O.
put the
Yeah.
cell phone. Was it Randy Moss that put the cell phone, or was it T.O. that put the cell phone in like he
in the
put the cell phone
padding.
No, that was
in the
Joe
padding?
Horn. That was Joe
Was it?
Horn
I
of
just remember. I
the
thought
Saints. Yep, he had the
he
phone
called
in
like his
there.
mom or whatever
Yep,
when he won.
he got fined a crap ton of
Yeah.
money for
He did.
But T.O. did do the Sharpie, where he had a Sharpie in his sock, and he scored a touchdown, and he pulled it out and like signed the football and like threw it to a kid.
Oh,
I
really?
know T.O. did that one, yeah. But yeah,
That's
Joe
awesome.
Horn, very little known Joe Horn. He was the one who did the cell phone trick.
That's pretty funny.
So on the Ravens, like, what do we think of Lamar? What has he become, guys?
I do. Oof. It's
Your
hard.
New
It's
England
hard to say.
Patriots wanted him, by the way.
It's hard to tell because we are seeing it's his second year. He goes as the number 1 seed, one and done in the playoffs. He said it in the press conferences. He hates losing, so obviously it's affected him. And maybe it got to his head, and it's his sophomore year, so maybe we're seeing a slump. But man, he cannot pass the football. My goodness, you have a weapon like Hollywood Brown, and you can't get the ball to him once.
Dude, Hollywood Brown is like he's not even existing right now.
I dropped him on my fantasy team today.
It's really bad.
He got me no points. I just dropped him. I straight up dropped him, and Lamar. I dropped them both off my fantasy team.
So I saw a stat when I was watching some of the games, and they were talking about Lamar, and he's, I think, especially over the past like 4 or 5 weeks, he's dead last in throwing downfield as far as like completions more than like 15 and 20 yards. He just
Really?
is not. He's just not able to. This year, he's not able to connect on them. So, like, what do you guys think? Do you think this is a sophomore slump, or do you think we're seeing the real Lamar?
It's hard to say because once we get out of the sophomore year, if he's still bad, then we saw the real Lamar. I think. Go ahead, Eric.
Did we see the real Lamar? Or did we see a coach that doesn't know how to coach a guy out of a sophomore slump? And I think Jim Harbaugh actually is a coach that knows what he's doing, and I think he knows like
yeah, he's a
how to
smart
do.
coach.
But
He's one of the better ones.
does he? I don't know. He had Joe Flacco, so I guess that really would be credit to him because he had Joe Flacco and he got Joe Flacco to a Super Bowl. So maybe he does know how to do that. So I guess that it would be. I guess it would be a Lamar. I don't know. I was just thinking out loud there. Like I do think that sometimes when you see these sophomore slumps and they continue, and then you look at other people that have really good head coaches and they don't, like, do we really know that Pat Mahomes had a sophomore slump, or was it so prolifically still good that it wasn't as good as his first year? I don't know that he even had that though, but he had Andy Reid, so prolific talent,
Yeah.
great head coach that understands like offensive genius, knew how to coach him up. Off you go. Is Jim Harbaugh an equal as far as offensive genius in coaching up a quarterback? I mean, he got Joe Flacco into the playoffs many times, and he got Joe Flacco a ring. So I guess yes, but is he the right? I don't know. Like I'm just thinking out loud.
Yeah, it's so weird this case with Lamar because last year it's crazy this sentence. He led the league in touchdown passes last year. He led the league. He had 36 touchdown passes, which is like, okay, you see that, and you're like, all right, so the kid's got skill. Like, you can't just like bullcrap 36 touchdowns
Right.
and only had 6 picks. And then this year, he's got 15 touchdowns and the same amount of interceptions. And not only that, but his rushing yards are down too.
He's not
so
running the ball nearly as much.
Well, this past week he was. Like he had a pretty good amount of like attempts, but he was getting nothing. They were bottling him up, and I think teams have started to figure out how to contain his running game. And that was
Sure.
like, especially last year, that was his go-to. I mean, he had over
Yeah.
1,200 rushing yards, 1,200
Yeah.
as a quarterback.
Yeah, that's
So
That's insane.
well.
yeah,
That's that's the main reason why I took him second pick in the fantasy draft.
right.
Do you think that if they look back in 2 years and they say it was a sophomore slump and it was COVID, that that's what they could write it off as if he continues to get better, like next year or the year after, like
If he,
sophomore slump
if
plus
he come,
COVID?
I think it honestly, if he comes back next year as good as he was, if not better than his first year, then yeah, they're going to be like, oh, this was sophomore slump. COVID had a lot to do with it. But if
I don't
he's
know if he can use
slowly,
COVID.
just slowly getting better,
I don't mean like he had COVID. I mean like
No, but I don't think
the
even
way
that,
they practice is fundamentally different.
no, like that's bullcrap by now. They're over halfway through the season. He's had plenty of time to learn and adapt. I don't think you could use
sure,
COVID
yeah,
as it.
that's a good point.
I mean, that's a good point, but do you think they'll still use it as an excuse anyways? Well,
Well, I'm sure the team and him will use it. Like,
So-
absolutely. It doesn't
so
mean
they're
it's-
going to use it, but your point is you're not going to believe it. Fair.
Yeah, right. I mean, they
Right.
can pull anything out their butt and say that.
That's a good point,
That's
yeah.
why. Yeah. You know, it's like I could say on a test, it's like, well, I only failed because it was just very difficult, and the teacher was hard on me. And it's really because I didn't study. And I just don't know the material.
Oof.
But I'm going to go with that excuse.
Ah,
So,
hey, that's a
I
good
don't
point. That's a really good point.
so
I
fair
honestly think you just hit
because
it-
my
hit
thing
it on
too
the head.
is Lamar the past 2 years in the playoffs has been terrible. Like when the game's like elevated, and when he has to be the guy to take over 2 years in a row.
Dude, can we talk about how bad he was in that game last year?
Dude, he was horrible.
It
And the
was
year
so
before the playoffs,
bad.
he was horrible.
It was
Choking
so
factor.
Dude, they were
When
the
they
number
have a
one
lead-
seed. They were the
Well, when they
force.
have the lead, he can run the ball and control it. He's good at controlling with the lead. If he
Mhm.
has to be the guy to take over, though, he can't throw. He just can't. Like, and I mean, you could say like, Aaron, you're ignorant. Like, what are you talking about? It's like, watch the tape.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
dude, like the dude can't like win the game with his arm. He
The
can't.
old eye
Yeah,
test, right? Like
right.
I feel the same way about the Patriots. Like they ran the ball pretty decent this week, but there was a couple times that they lined up and it was like third or fourth down and it was late in the game and they had to have it. I saw them spread out and I went, "Oh no." Oh, because I had no confidence that they could move the ball down the field throwing it.
Right.
Like it might not necessarily. I was listening to radio today. They have better stats than Tampa Bay right now when it comes to like third down completion rating and all that, which is crazy when you think about that. But how I feel and what I see with my eyes is they don't have anything to throw to.
Eye test is in some cases. I think eye test is a little, I don't know, a little more accurate because there's
I
stats
agree.
for everything. Like, oh, well, when the weather's 33 degrees and it's a full moon 2 days after the freaking solar festus, then they're like, we noticed that quarterbacks are. It's like, get that crap out of here, Sports
Hey,
Center.
dude, that's
Like,
how
what are you
people.
doing?
Come on, that's how people win thousands and thousands of dollars
Yeah,
in Vegas.
those
though.
next gen stats are some of my favorite.
Oh, my
Dude, that's how
gosh.
people win these big.
The
bucks in betting.
probability of the Green Bay Packers winning this game, 90%. I saw that
What's
this
the,
week.
What's the
They
air
lost.
pressure and stuff like that in the stadium
yeah.
before?
And I'm
Like
like,
that.
and I'm just like, I just saw him throw a pass straight into the ground. That's all I need to see.
Yeah.
Like,
Nah, that's funny.
so
Hey,
I don't know.
elsewhere in the league, I got a text message this week that I'm sleeping on the Indianapolis Colts. Am I sleeping on the Indianapolis Colts? Are we
Question.
sleeping on the
Question.
Indianapolis Colts?
No.
Question. Was that from Devin Ruffner?
I wasn't going to use names, but
Shout out, Devin. You're a
it
good
was
dude.
from
You're
a
good
Colts
dude.
fan. I'll say that.
Oh, he is
man.
a Colts fan, isn't he?
It was from my best friend, one of my best friends, my best man, who is in fact a Colts fan. I'll say that much.
Well, I think it's not just even with the Colts. There's actually, I was looking at the standings for the AFC, and there's several teams that have like winning decent records that I'm kind of like, so are these teams actually legitimate? Like, are they really good? Like, which teams are fake? And the Colts are one where it's like they have a good record. They just beat the Packers in a thriller on Sunday, and you're kind of like, oh man, do I need to start taking them seriously? Like, is Philip Rivers figuring something out finally? I don't know.
Let me just make this very easy for you. What's the jersey say on the front
Of what?
of their jersey? What does the front of their jersey say?
For the Colts?
Yeah. It says Colts.
Indianapolis.
It
or
says Colts,
Colts.
right? Yeah. What's the back of the jersey of the quarterback say? Rivers. Neither one of those
Rivers.
I've ever taken seriously.
Oh my gosh! Even with Peyton Manning, you wouldn't take him serious.
Okay, I was probably too young to really understand that, but
He was so
Yeah.
dirty with them.
okay, fine. Recent history? Colts
Yes.
on the front, Philip Rivers on the back. I'm going
No.
to sleep. Wake me up.
Yeah.
But do you think they're actually a good team?
They probably are a good team, but
I'm not saying are they going to win the Super Bowl, but like, do you think they're actually a decent squad?
Well,
I
they've
think they're
had
building
good
for
rookies.
something.
Their rookies their rookie running backs are doing great this year.
That's what I mean. So Phil, I looked this up.
Hines has been a really big find.
And
for them.
Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
They've both been doing really, really well.
Philip Rivers is 39. I think he's only signed for 1 year. I could be wrong about that, but I think it's only 1 year with the Colts, and it's guaranteed 13 million, cap number 25 million. So I think they're building for something. I think they brought in Philip Rivers because they needed somebody that could, develop those young players. And Philip Rivers loves to throw the ball, and for all he is a serviceable, more than serviceable quarterback. So I'm going to sleep on him this year, but next year after, I think they're building for something. I think Frank Wright is finally a head coach that maybe can do something. Because I don't think they've had very good head coaches in there recently, anyways.
Yeah,
Not
they
recent
haven't.
history.
No, they definitely haven't. I think Dungy, I would say, is probably their last really good coach.
Yeah, I went from Dungy to like nobody's for years.
So real quick side note then on Philip Rivers, what's your guys' opinion of him as a quarterback overall? Because I mean, if you look stats wise, yeah, he's got stats behind him. Obviously, no Super Bowl wins or playoff wins. So like, because he hasn't done well in playoffs or got any Super Bowl victories, where are you guys placing him on the quarterback tier list?
On the quarterback tier
He doesn't
list,
run, he doesn't scramble.
I am placing him at the throws most like a girl.
Oh, dude, his throwing motion's hilarious.
It's so funny looking.
But it works. I don't understand how it works.
I've
The
never
rebuttal
really.
to that is that he has 13 kids, so he's clearly not a girl.
That is true.
I have. I've really never looked close at his stats, but I've never ever been impressed with him.
I've never taken him seriously.
I've never been impressed with watching him play in a game. I never, when you get those quarterbacks and it's fourth quarter, 2 minutes left, one timeout.
Right.
And you have a quarterback that's going to get the ball, and you either have a quarterback that is, they're going to probably get it, and then they're probably not going to get it. And Philip Rivers is the one that I put in the probably not going to get it category.
Yeah, I would say in clutch situations, when he has to be the guy, he does tend to falter.
And he's not like inherently a bad quarterback. He's just not. He's nothing special. He's very average to me.
He's Johnny Average. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's just some stats. Like, just so if you don't know, he has over 61,000 yards, actually almost 62,000 yards, 411 touchdowns.
How many rushing yards does he have?
Probably the
110?
same as freaking. For career, he has 609 yards.
That's
rushing.
a lot more than I
Even
thought, actually.
But if you look here, he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 seasons over 4,000 passing yards. So I mean, the dude he does put up stats. He's just not a guy I would call a winner.
Yeah.
He crumbles in the big games. So for the Colts, then, real or fake? Do you think they're actually contenders or no?
Fake.
I'd have to agree with you.
Later.
I don't think they're built for the playoffs.
Don't put your money on them.
I think because of the new playoff system, that extra wild card team, they could make it. I don't think they're going anywhere.
Yep.
What about and then the next the Browns, the freaking Browns are
they're 7-3.
Whoa.
7-3. So it's kind of like the same thing. It's like, well, are they real? Or is this legit? Is this like, what are you guys' takes on the Browns? What's your feelings about them?
I think if they make it into the playoffs, it's a win for them. That's it.
Oh, well, for the Cleveland, yeah.
So if they get into the playoffs and lose first round, that's the first time since Bill Belichick was the head coach. So if they make it that far, they're building for something. And again, get back to me in a couple of years. They might be actually they might have developed the right formula there to make a playoff run, and that'd be really cool. I'd be all for that. As much as I love my hometown teams, like those good story teams, like they finally got it together and are going to go win one. Good story to follow.
Yeah,
I agree.
Baker has not looked all that bad this year.
He's been
he-
he does just enough. I would say he manages their team very well.
And you know
They have a really good run game.
when OBJ went out with that ACL tear, what did he have? Yeah, or whatever.
Yeah,
whatever.
ACL.
tear. I'm like, all right, well, there goes the Browns season because you don't have one of the better wide receivers on the field anymore. But then Nick Chubb is doing great. He's back this past week, right? He's back.
He was back. He's been back the past couple of weeks. He's played very well too.
Yeah,
over 100 yards.
I mean, that dude, he can run and he can throw people to the ground. Man, he is good.
He's a monster.
He's a beast.
Yeah.
So my take on it is, I say we take the Browns pretty serious.
Yeah, man,
So is that like a neither here nor there kind of thing?
I don't think they're going far into the playoffs.
I think they could get a playoff win. And here's my thinking. I think Baker Mayfield hasn't been horrible. He hasn't been turning the ball over as much as he has previously in his career. He's doing just enough to be a game manager, which is great because they have the best running attack in the league. They have Nick Chubb and they have Kareem Hunt, who both those guys can get you over 100 yards. And it's the best running back tandem in the league by far. So they can kill you on the ground. And they play very good defense. And we know when you get into playoff football, and it's like the running game and the defense can help you. I think they could sneak a win in the playoffs and maybe advance a game or two. It all is dependent to me on Mayfield, on how he plays. If he makes mistakes, they're screwed. But if he can just do what he's been doing, throw for like 160 yards and a touchdown, no picks, I think they can take a game and advance in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I think they could be a real team. Real quick, just for the last two, Titans. What do you think? Real or fake?
Oh, I want them to be real so bad. I want to see Mike Vrabel win one. Man, I really like Mike Vrabel.
Honestly, maybe just as real as they were last year.
Oh, you think they can make a run like that in the playoffs?
Yeah, I think so. I really do. I think their offensive coordinating is great.
Yeah,
which is great because Vrabel's a defensive mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Vrabel's done very good things there.
He's the type of coach that could go to like the Steelers, travel to the Steelers that are end the season, we'll say it 16-0, first round bye, divisional round. Here comes the Titans and they win over the Steelers. Like he's the guy that could do that.
Sure,
I really think that. He's got that like I'm not afraid of you and neither is any of my team kind of thing to him.
Yeah, no, I like him as a coach, and what he's done in Tennessee has been phenomenal to give that team some sort of structure and actually a winning culture now.
Yeah.
The past 2 seasons they've been winning, which I mean Tennessee hasn't been able to say that seasons prior.
Can I make a statement of annoyance?
What's that?
Sure.
How is it? And I'm not a Stephen Gostkowski guy. I could tell you stories as far back as like I remember having conversations at church years before I ever listened to sports radio or had any realized that there were people out there that made money to have the same takes that I had. So like I've always been out on the guy ever since we wouldn't kick that stupid field goal in the 07 game. But just out of annoyance, we have moved on from 2 kickers as Patriots fans. Like the Patriots have moved on from 2 kickers that go to other teams and continue to perform.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, like, really well.
We have the Patriots have Nick Foles.
Yeah, Gostkowski is doing his thing over there too, man.
Well, let's not forget about his performance in the first game of the year.
I forget what did he do?
Remind me.
He missed an extra point in like 2
he was getting the New England out of him. That's all that was.
No, he looked really bad.
Yeah, New England out.
But now he's great. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, and then the last one, Raiders. They played the Chiefs really well. They played their offense this year has looked really good. I think Derek Carr has taken a step forward. What do we think about that?
Derek Carr. Now listen, Derek Carr was up and coming his rookie year. Everybody thought he was going to be the next big thing. He was doing amazing, and then he breaks his leg.
Yep.
He snaps his leg and comes back and has a very average season. That was 2 average
2
seasons.
years. Yeah, he had 2 average years.
2 pretty average seasons, and then he comes into this year, beats the Chiefs, which is the Chiefs Raiders rivalry is apparently huge.
It's a real thing.
Everybody hates the Raiders out here. Not as much as they hate the Patriots, but they hate the Raiders a lot. And Derek Carr comes, or the Raiders go. The Chiefs visit the Raiders this past Sunday night, and they almost pull it off.
They did.
And Derek Carr looks great. Their offense looks, their receivers and their backs look really, really good. So I think of all the teams that we've just said, I think they're the team that I take the most seriously.
Yeah,
really. Over the Titans,
over all of them. I think they're the team that takes them. I'm going to take them most seriously when it comes playoff time.
Yeah, no, I agree with that because I mean you have Josh Jacobs, who's one of the better young running backs in the league.
They do have a good tight end too, don't
Yeah,
they?
They got one of the best tight ends outside of Kelsey. Kittle's hurt, so I'd put Waller honestly at like the number 2 tight end in the league right now. Derek Carr's been playing great. And they have a average defense. I mean, they gave up 35 to Kansas City, but it's Kansas City. Like that's just what they do.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I think the Raiders are legit. I think they play good ball.
So of all the teams you just mentioned, so we mentioned the Browns, the Colts, the Raiders, and the Titans. You two put the Raiders as the one you're taking most seriously.
I put them a nudge over the Browns.
Yep.
Just slightly over the Browns.
I am taking the cheese on the Titans, man. All in.
You're all in on
the
Titans?
cheese.
Yeah, dude,
I'm
that's
all
fine
in on
too.
the Titans.
That's my
It's
second. That's my number 2. So
it's that New England blood in you, Eric.
It is.
Oh, Mike Vrabel.
I've always liked him too, though. Like I've always liked Mike Vrabel. I'm a sucker for linebackers, man. He was a linebacker, right? I'm not crazy.
You can't say he doesn't look like a meathead, though.
He totally looks like a meathead.
Meathead.
So did Teddy Bruschi. Like he kind of looked like just a different style of meathead.
Yeah.
Teddy
have you ever
Bruschi,
seen him now?
Bruschi?
He runs like marathons now.
Yeah, he's super. Yeah,
I mean, I'd imagine he's into cardio since he had like 5 strokes.
Yeah, no, he does. He literally does marathons. He trains for him, and he's lost a ton of weight. So good for
him.
Speaking of Patriots, what do we do here? What do we talk about? How do we even talk about the team that we all love?
Well, they're not making the playoffs, and I think we just rip the Band-Aid off and just accept that. And
I'm just like Cam. I'm still holding on to at least a playoff appearance.
Oh, isn't that cute? He's got hope.
How?
What? I mean,
we're
only 2 games out of the best, behind the Dolphins, or then 3 games behind the Bills because they both lost. No, the Bills didn't have a game this week, right?
Wouldn't it be better at this point just to pack it in and go get some better draft picks and maybe get some young talent on the team?
Oh, maybe that's what their plan is, but my hopes are that they at least make an appearance in the playoffs. It's my team. It's my team. I'm going to stick with my team. And if they lose, I'm not going to I'm not going to be surprised if they don't make it to the playoffs, but I'm still going to hold out hope that they're gonna. It's my team.
I'm going to root for them, but I'm going to go the long haul.
But you can be realistic.
Well, I think I am being realistic. There's not no chance that they're going to make it.
Stamp it right now. Have the stamped on this episode that Aaron Cable says there is no chance as of right now. You can hold me to it if it isn't, but I'm confident.
Man, I can't wait till like episode 5 when I get to tell you that you were wrong.
I'm pretty sure their playoff future is not going to be determined in 2 weeks.
Oh wait, what
this
episode
is going to be
this?
This is 3.
Oh,
so we're looking at like
6 or 7. Sorry.
Yeah. Christmas after Christmas, when they're
my bad.
They're what are they 4 and 6 right now? So they're going to be 4 and 10 by then or something like that.
To win out. They have to win out.
And we talked about Arizona last week as like Arizona was going to be the team they weren't going to win.
Yeah.
Crap. Well, I'm still going to hold out hope. I'm not ready to just sign my team off and say, they suck. They're bad. I'll be the first to admit it. They're bad. But
I want to talk about. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I want to talk about next week. The question of so I'm going to tease it this week, but I don't want us to answer. Just let us mull on this for the next week. Has the standard changed for how we think of the Patriots as far as like?
Okay.
Now Belichick's gone. Has the standard changed? So I just want think about that question because next week I want to go back to it. But I want to say this. So our good friend Kyle Butler, who told me that I could only use this if I said his name. So Kyle Butler said, what
course you did.
on the Patriots, what if they got Baker Mayfield? What if, I don't know why he thinks that, or like why, but what if for whatever reason Baker Mayfield became available, and they send Cleveland their first and second next year, Shaq Mason for Mayfield and a fourth, then use your cap to go out and bring in guys like Galladay and Smith Schuster and rebuild the wide receivers. Is that
Oh
a
man,
legitimate pipe dream, or like is any of that even possible?
the way that he wants us to get him, absolutely not. We need draft picks.
Yeah, that's
We
what I thought too.
need draft
This
picks. We
is
need young talent.
I initially
Sending
thought it could
Cleveland
work.
first and second year. Come on.
because right now, if you were to swap Cam and Baker right now, you have almost
You'd have
be
the
about
same. It'd be the
thing.
same record.
Nothing would really change.
You could argue that Brady, starting with their like late last year into this year with Cam, their offense hasn't improved anything.
Not at
Oh,
all.
I mean,
offense.
really hasn't. It hasn't necessarily gotten worse either because there's nothing around the quarterback.
No,
Let me tell you, man. What's his face? N'Keal Harry. Biggest disappointment. Biggest disappointment ever.
Scrub. We could have
Yeah,
gotten
very dis-
freaking DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
I brought that up to my family not long ago.
We could have
We
had
DK Metcalf was on the board and we got N'Keal Harry.
But anyways, to getting Baker Mayfield, fine. But the way that he wants to get Baker Mayfield, no, absolutely not.
Yeah, no, I'm not with that, Kyle. I'm sorry, man. It's a dream of his.
Use
It
your
is a good
cap to
dream.
go out and bring guys like Kenny Galladay would be a nice addition to the team. I think Juju is going to stay on the Steelers until he retires. I think
Think so?
he fits. I think he fits well there. Him and Mike Tomlin get along pretty well.
You never know though
From
in
what I
free
understand.
agency right now. Free agency's nuts.
Well, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, everybody's going to the
All of a sudden,
bring
like,
all your
Juju,
best
you're
guys to
gonna
one
be-
team.
Well, no, it's more like Juju, you're going to be with us forever. We're committing to you, and then all of a sudden, the next new shiny receiver comes, and they're just like, "Yeah, we traded you for like a washing machine."
We're
to get
committed to you forever.
Right.
Committed to you
A
forever,
washing
but
machine.
you're going to be a wide receiver 4 or 5 now rather than a 1 or 2.
Yeah. It's so tough with free agency now to be able to do that. I mean, even Brady, we always thought Brady was going to be a Patriot, and then bam.
No.
Yeah, so sorry, Kyle. We love you a lot, but I think the idea of getting Baker Mayfield's a great idea. I think he would be a good fit here because you said McDaniels gets this guy. I don't know what that means, but
I think he wanted him. I think that's what he meant to say. I literally just copy and pasted it from the text message. But I think gets his guy. You can't get me for
gets
that typo.
his guy. Okay,
Yeah.
so sure. Yeah, getting him would be fantastic. I think that would be a good improvement to the team. He's a young Heisman winner who's third year in the second, whatever year in the league, and he's performing pretty okay. But the way you want to get him, man, that's too much.
Yeah,
that's way
too much to give up
much.
for a guy who's not like. If we're giving up that much, that we better be getting an absolute stud.
Yeah.
I agree. You want to talk NBA?
Hold
Let's
on,
do
really
it,
quick,
man.
really quick. We have on here who is the dominant team in the NFC, and not really to go into that all the way. I just really quickly want to know what your guys' AFC Championship game picture is and NFC Championship game picture is. Because I always hate when people ask me, who do you think's going to be in the Super Bowl this year?
Well,
I don't know. That question annoys me, but I think that the championship games, who are the 4 teams you're picking? AFC Championship game and NFC Championship game.
AFC, for me, I think with the seeding, how it would work, it would probably be Chiefs Steelers. I don't know. I think
Okay.
they're the best 2 teams in the AFC. I still take the Chiefs to win that game.
Okay.
In the AFC, I think in playoffs, Mahomes and wins.
Oh man, he's too good.
Yeah, NFC, man, I'd have to. It depends on. I would have said the Saints like 100%, but I don't know about Drew Brees' health. That's the only thing that throws it off. If he's healthy, I think they go to the NFC Championship game, and I think they go up against the Packers. That's my. And
So
I think
you don't think the Bucs are
Packers might
coming
win.
close?
I think they're too sporadic on offense.
Okay.
I don't know. They're too up and down.
Sure.
They have to figure that crap out.
They do. They're a roller coaster, man. Eric?
Yeah.
so I go Chiefs at Steelers. Steelers win.
Okay.
Ooh.
Um,
Spicy.
because I think they just got the it factor. And then I think NFC's tough, man. Rams are in it. Now the other team, I don't know. My heart says Tampa Bay, and that's biased. And then a
Very.
part of my heart says Russell Wilson because I really like Russell
Their
Wilson.
defense
But their
sucks.
defense is so horrible. So I'm going to take the easy out. Aaron Rodgers travels to the Rams. The Rams beat Aaron Rodgers. It's the Rams versus the Steelers in the Super Bowl.
Nice.
I like
Don't
it.
ask me who wins.
All right, so mine for AFC, mine is the Patriot. No, I'm just kidding. Totally kidding.
Just
So
close
AFC.
out the window.
No, I'm just joking. So AFC Championship game again. I don't think there's a doubt in my mind that it's going to be Steelers versus Chiefs. I think the Chiefs win it, no doubt. The Chiefs are going to go into Pittsburgh and probably wipe the field with them. And then NFC, I'm going Seahawks Packers.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, they always have good games too.
Yep.
Those
And that I would love to see Seahawks Packers NFC Championship game. And then in the Super Bowl, I think it's going to end up being Chiefs Seahawks.
There you go.
And I would love that. I mean, that's what I said. That was my take at the beginning of the year.
The
So
NFL
Chiefs win
everybody
another
wants
Super
that.
Bowl is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's fair. That's fair. That's more than fair.
There's no doubt in my mind the Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, they're good.
No doubt in my mind. They're way too good. But I am.
So, Aaron,
so let's NBA.
Aaron, tell us about the NBA. What's going on? A lot.
Massive injury to Klay Thompson earlier last week. Poor guy, man, blows his ACL out in the finals 2 years ago. So he's already had to miss that whole season. Rehabbed, came back. They were ready to go. Especially for the Warriors, they were going to be reloaded again. They had Klay Thompson. Steph Curry was coming back
Splash
as well.
Bros back, baby.
Yeah, they were ready to make
I was
a push.
so pumped for it.
Then in training, blows out his Achilles.
Those in training injuries or preseason camp are so brutal because you're like,
yeah, because
you had it.
So he'll miss 2 full seasons now, with injury, and so, what does this mean for the Warriors? Because now they were looking to make a push. Steph was talking that, hey, we're going to compete with the Lakers for a championship. Well, what do we think this is going to do with them, and what does this mean for the overall West? Then does this mean that LeBron has a lock on everything? What are your guys' takes on this before I give mine?
In the Western Conference?
Yeah.
Oh, there's still no doubt in my mind. Lakers are winning it all, at least in the West.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
What do you think?
If we had the Splash Brothers back, I don't know. I think they could have given the Lakers a run for their money.
Personally, I think even with both of them back, I would still give the edge to the Lakers just because of what the Lakers, that we're going to talk about that a little bit, what they've done.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They've freaking, I don't know where they're getting their money from. Someone needs to call the IRS and be like, we got to look into something here.
It's LeBron's gambling habits.
It's ridiculous where they're pulling all these guys from. But that's the LeBron factor. Everyone just wants to go there. But I think even with the Splash Brothers, I would still take the Lakers. I do think this injury though opens up the West for maybe another team maybe that wouldn't have made the playoffs to make a push or to take a step forward. Because I think they would have made the playoffs this year. They had the worst record in the NBA last year because of injuries.
Mm-hmm.
I think with both of them, they're in the playoffs. Honestly, with just Steph, maybe they might slip in the 8th or 7th spot. I just think by himself, we saw what that looked like last year for a couple games when it was just him, and he played well, but the rest of his team was garbage. So I think it kind of screws the Warriors over, and I think it even secures LeBron's hold on the West even more. Unfortunately,
I agree.
So so that was just a massive injury because I think that changes the landscape of the West, and it really just makes it an easier road for LeBron to win the finals, which I was hoping he'd have more of competition. I wanted
some pushback,
right, but it looks like right now that's just not going to be the case, especially if Harden leaves and goes to the Nets. Then it's like it's wide open at that point.
We talked a little bit about it last week, and I think that's probably going to happen.
You think it's probably going to happen?
Oh yeah, I think
Well,
I think that's.
He told his owner, he's like, I don't want to play here.
Yeah.
You gave me $50 million.
Yeah, and I want out. And by the way, trade me to the Nets. That's like literally what he said.
I want to go where KD and Kyrie are, but I don't know. That's just nuts. But besides that, the draft was last week. So we got to see who got who. We saw Anthony Edwards went number 1 to the Timberwolves. Everyone kind of, I mean, it was a toss up between like maybe him or LaMelo. I think it was good that LaMelo fell to third because he's a freaking cocky punk. And he was like, I deserve to go first. And he fell to third, which I personally found hilarious. But Anthony Edwards he's a 6'5", 225, very athletic. He led all freshmen in scoring his freshman year. He led his team in scoring, averaged over 19 a game. Not a good shooter. So it'll be interesting to see how that works with Minnesota, who doesn't really have good shooters.
Yeah.
I was a little kind of like, I don't know if that's what you need. You already have a lot of good athletic wing players, but
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Unfortunately it's a league where you have to be able to shoot. Maybe he'll develop that in the off season, which is only about a month away. So we only have a month of that left.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see. I don't know if you guys know a lot about Anthony Edwards at all. If you have any.
No.
There we go.
Uh,
He's a freak athletically. Like he's a monster. Just he has to work on his shooting a lot.
Honestly, the thing I'm most interested in the notes about the NBA that you wrote out, Aaron, is Al Horford's sister calls out Philly fans. Can you please tell me about this?
What happened?
All right,
dude, I love Al Horford.
So obviously we know Horford spent 3 seasons in Boston. While he was here, he was meh. Like he was serviceable. He was. Some people would say he's like the key to the team, and I say like you can leave immediately. He was not. He was all right. But he gets traded to the Sixers. He played there last year. Very underwhelming. Obviously, the Sixers season was a disappointment. He didn't play that well, and he gets traded. All right, so he leaves, and as soon as he did, what happened is apparently all the Philly fans like hit up his sister on Twitter and were like, "Your brother's trash. He isn't like." I mean, we're calling like him like swearing at him, calling him like racial slurs, calling her racial slurs.
Philadelphia fans
she
are
sent a
something.
picture of like all the messages she was getting. Like they were saying like horrible things like about her and him, and so she's like,
yikes.
so she reached out and was like, "Yeah, the Philly fans are the absolute worst in the entire league." She like went out and trashed them, like, "Oh, they're disrespectful. Like, no one wants to play for these fans," which I kind of love to hear because we all kind of know that about Philly already.
Yeah,
they throw snowballs at Santa Claus, like So
that's wicked funny.
That made my heart kind of swell to hear that because she just like dumped on all and put all of Philadelphia on blast, which I found very, very hilarious. So, I don't know. Did you guys not hear about that, or was that just from me?
No,
I think I heard a blip of it, but that's great that you.
I didn't hear much about it.
Oh yeah, dude, it was so funny. She put them all on blast. But yeah, then elsewhere, Celtics, their draft picks were meh. They had 3. I think they ended up getting 3 picks, all just really no names. I'm not really impressed with any of those players. I don't think it'll really do much for us. I think we just keep developing the guys that we already have. And LaMelo, the other Ball brother, he got drafted 3rd overall. And I don't know. I know with Lonzo, when he got drafted, he left kind of a sour taste in my mouth because he
wasn't LaMelo the one that got in trouble in China, and President Trump had to get him out of trouble.
Oh yeah, he shoplifted with like him and his boys.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. No,
go ahead.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
No, he's a great offensive talent. There's no doubt about that. His defense is horrendous, though. Horrible defender. So I don't know how that's gonna. I mean, granted, in the NBA, you don't really get much defense anyway.
Lonzo Ball was on the Lakers, right?
He was, yes.
Where is he at now? What's he doing?
I want to say he's on the Pelicans now. Yeah, I think he's with the Pelicans. I think he is playing with Zion. He actually didn't do too bad this year. He wasn't putting up like all-star numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's with the Pelicans. I mean, he's serviceable. Like, but he went 2 overall. When you go 2 overall, you need to be all-star, man.
Okay, yeah.
And he's just kind of like 10 points per game.
Okay, so you heard it here first. LaMelo Ball is going to have the same fate as Lonzo Ball. He's going to be very average.
I agree.
And he's going to end up doing a season. He's going to end up doing a season on The Masked Singer to make some money.
Good take.
Just like his brother.
Honestly, I agree. And unfortunately, it's their dad. Freaking LeVar Ball has made me just not like that entire
Big
family.
baller brand. I mean, come on.
I don't want to see them succeed
No.
because of their dad.
Yeah.
Like, he's just so obnoxious. The big baller brand. What was he charging? Like $500 for those shoes or something?
I mean, it was ridiculous.
And like, did you hear like when they were sold and like people were using them, they were like blowing out on the court
Oh yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah. It was
It's like,
terrible.
I paid $500 for these. So, and the guy just like, he says he's better than Jordan, and it's like, he's like, I beat Jordan one-on-one. I'm just like, shut up, get out of here. So I don't know. I don't think LaMelo's gonna amount to much of anything. But a lot of stuff has happened with free agency that I want to ask you guys about. Hayward, he signed a contract with the Hornets. What do you guys think of him bouncing from the Celtics, not wanting to be here?
See ya.
Yeah, didn't we say that last week?
Have fun breaking your ankle somewhere else and sitting out for a year and then getting hurt again and being absolutely average.
That legitimately might happen too.
See you later.
Yeah,
not gonna miss you. You were 0% effective in the playoffs this past season. So
yeah, when he first got signed, I was like, oh sweet, like okay, we got a wing player, like this will be good. And then we got Kyrie, and then I was more excited for Kyrie.
Yeah.
But then I mean, it was unfortunate that Hayward blew his ankle out.
In a very gruesome injury. That sucked to watch.
So what was that?
Well, I was going to say, can we use this as a transition? Speaking of Kyrie and Gordon Hayward, and you talked about if the Lakers are going to repeat. You wanted to get to that. Can I pick your brain a little bit, Aaron, about because I know that like of the three of us, you're the most into basketball. I've gotten more into it, and I know Tyler follows it as well. So I want to pick your brain as far as like Celtics big picture, basketball big picture, and I want to start with this really quote from a very inspirational man that we all know and love, and that's Ricky Bobby, who says, "If you're not first, you're last." Right? So
shake and bake.
So with the exception of a 3-year span, the Celtics were basically the top. They with a 3-year span, they were the top dogs, and then there was a couple of years in there where they weren't. Right? So as far as basketball goes, and as far as like the Lakers repeating or what the Celtics need, I told you guys I spent 6 hours on this because I've heard this before and I just didn't really believe it, so I decided to just make an Excel sheet and look at it. So I know you guys saw it, but let me just start with this. So I just think that in that league, you need to have talent, right? You have to have a MVP caliber talent.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys know that I did this out since 1980. So the year 1980, why did I pick 1980? Because 40 years sounded good. And I figured out that actually when I did it out, 41 years is what it ends up being. But that's okay because I used the first year that coincidentally Magic Johnson was in the league. So since Magic Johnson entered the league, okay, every finals except for like one or two has had an MVP in them. As a matter of fact, finals with MVP out of those 41 years, 97.6% of finals have an MVP in them. So as far as like the Lakers repeating, and they have an active MVP on their roster who probably is the best guy in the league at this moment. Aaron, what do you think? Are they?
And they have AD, who is honestly a top 5 or even top 3 in the MVP candidate discussion too. Yeah. So they have the like LeBron, who could always be the MVP, and they have AD, who could also equally be an MVP candidate as well.
There you go.
So they have it.
So actually, I think this is interesting. There are only 3 years where the NBA champion did not have an MVP on the roster. And weirdly, all 3 of them were the Detroit Pistons, which I think is actually a bit of a misnomer because 2 of those years was 1989 and 1990, which the Pistons had the Hall of Fame point guard Isaiah Thomas on their team. He never won an MVP. I looked up the votes. He really wasn't ever close, but he played while Larry Bird was in the league, while Magic Johnson was in the league, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was in the league, and obviously Michael Jordan. So like there was a lot of competition there. The other one is the 2004 Pistons, which won without a past, present, or future. Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
They played just good defense. Like they didn't really have a big star. They had like Tayshaun Prince, Ben Wallace, Chauncey Billups. Yeah, They
I
didn't
looked
really
up the
have.
roster. I didn't recognize a single name.
They didn't have studs. They just played good team defense, good team ball.
The other thing is only 4 MVPs in this time frame never won a championship. In 1993, Charles Barkley appeared in the finals but lost to
Yeah.
Michael Jordan. I keep doing that. Michael Jordan, Chicago Bulls. Derrick Rose and Steve Nash never appeared in the finals, and then obviously Giannis has never appeared in the NBA finals. But I mean, he's still playing, so
Yeah.
uh,
Man, Derrick
he
Rose.
obviously has a huge potential there to appear in a finals at some point. The other thing too is champions had a set as far as home court advantage, they 73.12%. So it your path to the finals, to winning the finals, is you have to have an MVP, and 73% of the time you need to have home court advantage. Most of those champions had home court advantage throughout the playoffs into the final. So 57% I'm sorry, 68% had complete home court path, and then 73% won with home court advantage in the final. So my point is, like, just giving you those stats is like, when you look at the Celtics, they have not had an MVP on their team since Kevin Garnett left, and coincidentally, they have not been to a finals.
Mm.
So when you look at how the team is currently constituted, obviously Jason Tatum got paid big time. What was it, $195 million
195,
over 5
years.
years?
Yep.
Is he the guy? Can he be one of those guys that has one of those years, MVP caliber year, wins an MVP, beats out LeBron in his twilight years, or competes against Giannis and gets that MVP and gets us into the finals and wins? Can he be the guy?
That's a
Well,
really good.
my question for you though, in nowadays NBA, is just having one person who is the guy, is that even enough? Because nowadays you can be that guy, but you need 2 other guys who are almost on that same level, or at
Mhm.
least 1 or other guys.
That's a
So it's
good
like,
point.
I think Tatum, skill set wise, I think he's got it in 2. Like next year after that, I mean, he made huge jumps this year, in his scoring and in his offense, and even in the playoffs with his passing ability. He has that factor, to be the dude. I don't know if he has that 1B, 1C guy with him to do it. Like LeBron has AD.
So that's a good point. So I did some research on that too. When teams had 2 MVPs on their team and made it to the finals, only 5 of them won, or 5 of them lost.
Yeah.
And some of those are, again, misnomers. One year it was Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. They lost to Cedric Maxwell and Larry Bird. The next year, Larry Bird and Cedric Maxwell lost to Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Like, it was those all-time years. So, like, you take
Right.
those out, it's very rare if you have 2 MVP. So that also, my second question is Danny Ainge the right guy to bring talent in around someone like Jason Tatum, who he just paid big time, who he thinks can obviously be that MVP caliber and win him a championship? I know he's done it once. I know. I get it. He's done it once. But the standard in Boston, and the standard with the Celtics, if you talk to the average Celtics fans, is championship. And Danny Ainge his teams have appeared in 2 championships and only won 1. Is Danny Ainge the right guy?
I don't think so. I don't think you look at this team right now.
Yes,
Look what they
another
have.
person that's
No,
living.
I don't.
Okay.
You look at this team now. I think he's a guy. If you're any other team, all right, and championship isn't your goal, which it should be. But if you're looking for a guy to put together a competitive roster, he can be that guy for you.
He's been top 4 almost every year.
Right. But as far as like getting Boston to go to win a championship right now, no. Like this roster we have right now, it's not a it's a playoff roster. We're not winning any chips. Like last year watching this past year, watching them in the bubble, like seeing the people that we had out there made my blood boil sometimes. Like Daniel freaking Tice. Why do we let that goon step onto the court? Like that's just a decision where I'm just like, why are we letting him be our interior defense man when I just see him getting bullied by everyone? He can't make a 2-foot putback to save his life. He's getting he's getting blocked left and right. I'm like, why? Why does Danny put this, like, why did he bring this guy on, and why is Brad playing him at this position?
Yeah.
And even their other big guys, like we didn't have no one on our roster who was a legitimate rim protector and big man. that would play all the time. We didn't have that. It's like we knew that was going to be a problem. Why didn't Danny go out and fix that? And that killed us. That we didn't have anyone to go up against Bam, against the Heat in the Eastern Conference. They ate us for breakfast down low.
Big
because
time.
because he spent all of his time getting getting wing players, great wing players, but he didn't spend us any time getting a big man who can play down low and protect the paint and rebound. It's like, dude, Danny, that's on you, man. Like you have to get us those guys.
And I think we'll talk about this more, but I think you guys all heard it here first. Fire Danny Ainge. And with that, I want to get to something, and we're going to go a little longer today, and that's okay because I want to get to this. We wanted to do, because it's Thanksgiving and because we wanted to celebrate Thanksgiving in a sports fashion, we wanted to do a sports Thanksgiving. So we're going to do a warm-up question, which is your favorite sports, or I'm sorry, your favorite sports, your favorite Thanksgiving food. And then we're going to do a couple other sports moments and sports players questions. So Aaron, what's your favorite Thanksgiving food?
Here's the hottest take I'm gonna ever make on this show.
Oh no.
Thanksgiving food sucks. It's not that good. I don't.
Aaron, Tyler, kick him, boot him, get him out of here.
I don't get it. Like, it's turkey's not that great. Like, it's dry. I've had it cooked, fried, baked, all that, like roasted.
It's
just
dry. I'm sorry, you've never had somebody cook a good turkey for you. Then
I probably there's something wrong with you.
I probably haven't.
Okay, well, you're dead to me. So,
anyways, mac and cheese. Mac and cheese.
I guess that's a Thanksgiving food. It's all right. We'll let it fly.
It just goes mac and cheese, mac and cheese.
That would be my
Aaron.
pick for
Aaron,
food.
listen, Aaron. I respect it. You don't like Thanksgiving food. That's fine. I respect your opinion.
Do you like Thanksgiving at least? You're not Kyrie Irving, right?
I love the holiday itself. I'm just don't get the food. I don't know.
For me, it's stuffing. Bring me the carbs. Bring me all the carbs. Oh, well, I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but I love stuffing. I freaking love, especially the stuffing that's been inside the bird and absorbed that turkey flavor, and it's got, especially on the edge, it's got some crunches. Tyler,
I'm gonna go with turkey.
You like the turkey itself? Do you prefer white meat or dark meat?
Dark meat and legs, actually.
Oh, drumsticks.
I'm a huge drumstick and dark meat guy. The white meat's great, but again, sometimes the person that's cooking it doesn't know how to cook turkey.
Ooh.
And dark meat is usually always pretty moist. Moist. For everybody that doesn't like that word, moist.
It is normally pretty. The drumsticks are pretty moist. Aaron, who is the sports player you are most thankful for?
All right, throwing a name out there you guys probably haven't heard ever or in a while. Torrey Holt. Do you guys remember Torrey Holt?
No, please.
Oh,
share
man, that's
class.
part of the reason I love him. He was a receiver for the St. Louis Rams, and
that's right. That's one of your favorite teams.
I grew up like I loved seeing the Rams play when I was younger. But Torrey Holt is an unknown guy. Not all guys know him, but he racked up 920 catches, over 13,000 yards in his career, 76 touchdowns. He had 8 straight seasons over 1,000 yards, 6 of those over 1,300 yards. The dude was an absolute stud, but like no one knows about him. Like they're like, Torrey who? But he was a pro bowler for like 8 straight years. In the league, one of the top receivers during his span. Like no one else even came close to him. Like it was him and Marvin Harrison. But just seeing how he played, like he never talked. He never complained. He just went out there and he played ball, and he would just school everyone. His route running was impeccable. And I just love that he was a dude who just was never in the headlines. He was kind of unknown, but he was one of the top receivers like in the league while he was there. So I just love seeing him play, and he's part of that great Ram offense. That was just a lot of fun. So I really like him.
I like it.
Good take.
I like it.
I like it a lot. Good take. I'm going cliche. David Ortiz.
Stop. That's mine. You can't say mine. I'm not going to change mine.
No, you don't. But I mean, I guess you could, but you don't have to. I am big David Ortiz, man. Like, fundamentally, one of the funnest guys to watch. Like, or most fun, I guess, is proper English. It's my effing city thing and the whole thing. Like, just you knew playoffs. David Ortiz steps up to the plate.
By a drug cartel, like that's just
even when he retires, he's in the news. Tyler, go ahead, give us more about him. Unless you want to change your.
No, keep going. I'm going to change mine.
I don't know. That's pretty much all I had off the top of my head. It's just I can't ever forget those moments, like the Joe Buck call of, there's a drive, tie game. That whole thing when he hits the grand slam late against Detroit, like those kind of things where he has like this motivational talk with the team about, I can't be the only one that hits balls around here. Let's go. Let's go win this. His personality, his inability to keep his mouth shut, and he says whatever he wants. Remember when he threw bats too? Like there were so many moments.
He destroyed the bullpen phone.
I do, yeah, like that. Like there were so many moments both on the field and off the field that he's just so memorable, and he's easily the guy I'm most thankful for.
All right, I'm not going to change mine. I'm going David Ortiz as well. You stole mine, and I'm really mad that you did. And you said
I'm
everything.
Sorry, we
I
didn't
was
plan
gonna
that
say.
part out.
That's okay. No, but I really am thankful for him, for David Ortiz, because he was just the guy you looked up to when you were a young kid in Boston playing your own baseball. David, he was the clutch master of 2003, 2004, 2007,
Yeah.
2013. He's just been that guy that I'm a huge fan of somebody being a constant in my life, personally,
Yeah.
and people that I, haven't met that I look up to in sports and in like TV shows and movies and stuff. But David Ortiz has just been a constant and a constant person he's just always been in Boston, and he's stuck around. He's part of the team now, and I think that he's part of their. He's not a coach or anything, but he does a lot of stuff with the team still, and he's just a great guy. He loves Boston. They renamed one of the streets David Ortiz Drive or whatever it was. I mean, he's just a Boston guy from the Dominican. I love David Ortiz. He was great on the field. I don't know, I just love him.
All right, and then last question: the sports moment you are most thankful for, Aaron?
Yeah, for me, it has to be the greatest comeback in Super Bowl and probably sports history.
Good moment. Good moment.
I would say that probably the Patriots and Seahawks Super Bowl was the better overall game because it was competitive all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
But the comeback, though, was to witness something like that is unlike any other sports moment. And I think I saw that. Were you guys at Bay State when we all saw that?
And we all went and hugged the
Were you
screen
there?
after.
I was not. I was in Texas at that
that's
point.
Right. You
Me and my boy Bobby were hugging.
But yeah,
I remember sitting on the couch going, if they come back and make this competitive, just freaking lose. Just let it be. And then I was like, oh my gosh, they might actually figure. And then I freaked out.
Yeah.
At church, we lost our minds.
We were running around, hugging each other, like rolling on the ground. But like watching that game, because I thought it was over. Like after halftime, when was it Brady threw that pick six to open up the third quarter, I was like, well, it's done.
Yep, that's it.
And I was like, there's no possible way.
People started going home too.
Yeah, and to see them slowly crawl their way back, and to see Matt Ryan and freaking Quinn just like poop their pants in front of millions of people.
Their Super Bowl leaked completely down the back of their leg.
That was great watching the Falcons' reaction to that, but I still think the Richard Sherman's reaction to the 1 yard line against the Seahawks is the best reaction of all time ever.
That was great.
Yeah, it was, and I just loved hearing the trash talk from the Falcons, and they're like, "Yo, we're up so big, yeah." But he had that one guy on the Falcons though.
It's not over.
He was like, "They got number 12."
Yeah,
they got number 12. Yeah. And then to see that, and oh man, and I love watching now. You can look it on YouTube. Reaction videos of people in Atlanta watching.
Yeah, I have seen.
They're like, yeah! And then it changes, and then to see them just like erupt and flip tables and stuff.
Break TVs.
I've never had adrenaline flow that much watching a sport in my life.
Yeah,
that was hands down the greatest moment in me watching sports and ever. And so I'm forever thankful for that game. It was
good one. Amazing. So mine, the year is 2002. It's January football. I had just got done, Aaron, at Interstate 91 in Hadley, Mass.
The snowball.
And I get in my mom's station wagon as she tells me that the snow prediction went from 3 to 4 inches, I think it was, to 6 to 12 inches. And it was a Saturday, and the Patriots were playing the Raiders at home in the divisional round. Man, that is easily I'll go back. I had to watch it before this episode. Like watching that game go down, specifically the Adam Vinatieri kicks. Like, and I said this earlier. I remember saying like years ago, Steven Gostkowski, really consistent guy, not my guy. If you had to give me Gostkowski or Adam Vinatieri, I would take Adam Vinatieri all day long because of those kicks. And then he went out to the Super Bowl and did it again. Like he
Yeah.
what like it was Adam Vinatieri's leg
That
in
was
the it was incredible.
that kick in the Snow Bowl is probably the most clutch kick of all time.
You want me to
Easily.
show the
Hands
clip?
down.
You want me to show the clip on the stream?
Can you
Are
do
you gonna
that?
show
Are
that?
we gonna
Yeah,
get in
show
trouble?
No, we're fine. We're fine. It's YouTube.
Okay.
Hands
This
down the most
is
clutch kick
the
of all time.
kick of the century right here.
Man.
Adam Vinatieri will attempt a 45-yard field goal to try to tie it.
All right, Tyler, where's it at?
Snap
I see it
ball
lighting
back.
up on his face.
You guys can't see it.
And it is gone.
I remember it in my head. And it's
Look
also
at that
the
snow.
Super Bowl, too.
6.
I
mean, it's
remember
insane.
people telling me at church. I remember one guy specifically saying, "You would take Adam Vinatieri over Steven Gostkowski. Steven Gostkowski's got the better stats." Yeah, but did he kick one in the snow? No, he did not. And that brings me to you, Tyler. What is your favorite moment in sports history? Let it rip, Tyler. I know you got something cooked up for this.
Ladies and gentlemen, my sports moment that I am most thankful for begins in the year 1918. The Red Sox have just won the World Series. And the owner of the team, I don't remember his name, goes and sells the biggest up-and-coming star in baseball, probably of all time, Babe Ruth. They sell Babe Ruth to the Yankees so that he can have money to produce a play, and I forget the name of the play. The Red Sox go on to have a very bad few years. And then they get a guy named Ted Williams who plays in the 40s and 50s, I believe. And he was great, but they still never could get a World Series win. We get to the 80s. The Red Sox are looking good. They're looking great. 1986 rolls around, and those famous words, behind the bag, Bill Buckner. Bill Buckner lets a ball through the 5-hole. Mets go on to win. And then we enter the 90s, the year of the decade of the New York Yankees. They win 2 separate back-to-back World Series. And they own the 90s. And then in 2003, we have Manny Ramirez, David Ortiz, and a bunch of these really good guys in the Red Sox. We make it to the ALCS Game 7 versus the Yankees. And Tim Wakefield throws a meatball knuckleball over the plate, and Aaron Boone slams it to left field, second deck. Yankees go on, might I add, to lose the World Series. Thank the good Lord. Which brings me to my favorite and most thankful sports moment ever in my life, and that is the 2004 Red Sox. The Red Sox were down 3-0 in the ALCS versus the Yankees. They had swept the Angels in the division series. They go into the ALCS, go down 3-0. One of the nights they lose 18-2.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Okay.
Jeez.
And every Red Sox fan was like, here it is again. 2 years in a row, the Yankees are going to beat us. We're not making it. And then you have Game 4. And it's the bottom of the 9th inning. And there's 1 or 2 outs. There was 1 out in the bottom of the 9th, and we're down by 1 run. And somebody gets on, I forget who it was, and Dave Roberts, the manager now of the Dodgers, gets to pinch run, and he steals second off of Mariano Rivera and oh crap, what's his name? The catcher, the goofy looking guy for the Yankees. Why do I forget his name all the time?
The goofy looking guy.
I forget his name. The catcher. He's a goofy looking guy. Great. Jorge Posada. Thank you. Jorge Posada. I was thanking myself.
I was gonna say no one said anything.
So Jorge Posada, and all right. So, anyways, Dave Roberts steals second. They drive in the run, and then it goes into like the 14th inning or something like that. And David Ortiz hits a single with a guy on second, and the Red Sox come back from a 3-0 deficit. We have the bloody sock, the
I
Kurt
forgot about
Schilling
that.
bloody sock,
It's one of my
the
favorite
Pedro
moments.
Martinez clip that is the funniest thing to watch when he says, "I might as well just turn over and call the Yankees my daddies." And then all of a sudden goes into Yankee Stadium and just pitches some of the best baseball I've ever witnessed in my entire life. The Red Sox go on to beat the Yankees in the only 3-0 comeback in MLB postseason history. Nobody's ever done it, and nobody's done it since.
And they go on an 8-game winning streak. Yeah.
They went on an 8-game winning streak, and then they go to the World Series versus the Cardinals. This is the first pennant win they've had since 1986, and everybody's still holding their breath because Bill Buckner ruined it for Boston sports fans forever. Anyways, they win game 1, they win game 2, they win game 3, and then they're on game 4 for the sweep, and you hear that awful voice of Joe Buck. But it's still it is the clip that I am most thankful for in the sports moment I'm most thankful for, when Joe Buck says, "Back to Folk. Red Sox fans have longed to hear it. The 2004 the Red Sox are 2004 World Series champions." And that is by far the moment in sports that I am most thankful for, because that doesn't happen every day. Being down 3-0 to your rivals. Your biggest, that's one of the best rivals in sports. And you're down 3-0, and you come back and go on to sweep the Cardinals and win the World Series for the first time in 86 years. The curse was lifted, and it was
a good year for them too. I think they went like 20-2 in August, if I remember correctly.
20-2 in August. They started off 14-2 in April.
Yeah.
And that was the year, that was the year that Manny Ramirez ran onto the field with his citizenship flag because he became a citizen, and just an all-around good year. But let's not forget, they didn't get first place. They were a wild card team. So,
hey, I was just talking to one of my buddies from work on Facebook yesterday. He shared some meme of Mariano Rivera that's like, "You might know what pitch is coming, but I'm still going to blow it by you." Do you know what David Ortiz's average is versus Mario Rivera?
oh, probably
Mario
great.
Rivera. It's 342.
Yeah.
Greatest closer of all time.
Greatest closer of all time. Still not deserving of the only unanimous Hall of Fame decision. He was the
100%.
only guy to be unanimously decided into the Hall of Fame by all the voters.
Oh, really? Wow.
He's the only guy to ever been done it, and I have no idea why, because he didn't deserve that. Derek Jeter did.
Oh, Derek Jeter wasn't unanimous?
Nope.
Who's the goon who said no?
Everybody wants to know, but he's a goon.
Ugh, that's why baseball, they're so pretentious.
Yeah, because you got that one guy who's like, I'm going to be a contrarian.
I'm going to say no.
I think somebody else deserves it this year.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm just waiting for my boy Barry Bonds to get in.
Well, once you get your wish and they can all start juicing, he'll get in there.
There you go.
Push the juice, MLB. Push the juice.
Well, on that note, man, I am terrible today. But that note, we are gonna sign off on
after this episode.
Eric had a stroke during the podcast.
I think that's it for this episode. Aaron, do you want to tell them where they can find us?
Look us up on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. We are streaming all our episodes there. Every Thursday, our new episodes will be posting, so go check us out there. Give us a subscribe. If you can on Apple, leave us a review. The more reviews that we can get from people, the more our podcast will be put out there. That will help us out big time.
Yeah.
You can also go check us out on YouTube, so you can see what we look like. And if you want to see the video feed at all, so you can go to our YouTube channel, Under.500 podcast, look us up, and you can subscribe there as well. YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, look us up, follow us on Instagram at Under.500 Podcasts, because we will be posting content throughout the week about stories as they develop, that we can get conversations rolling, and that you guys can lend some of your thoughts in there. And so give us a follow, help us out, and hopefully you guys have enjoyed another week and another episode listening to our beautiful voices talk about sports and make fun of each other.
And on that note, happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yeah. See you, everybody. Have a good
Stay
Thanksgiving.
safe, everyone.